to Bishop Shannon, Reverend Dupree, Reverend Gwen, and Reverend Rainey. It is so very good, and all of you here, it is so very, very good to be here once again and this opportunity to share in this assignment of sharing God's word. Let us pray. O Lord, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Nearly 20 years ago, Laura Blumenfeld wrote a wonderfully beautiful book to which there were rave reviews entitled Revenge. Some of you may remember part of this story. Blumenfeld was a Washington Post reporter who traveled nearly around the globe to find the man who attempted to kill her father. And while Blumenfeld was in search of this man, she too was in search of wisdom. She wanted to know more and more about the kind of feeling and emotion that was driving her journey. The desire to even her family's score, to make right the attempted wrong that was done. Blumenfeld is a little instructive for us this morning because in her journey, as she writes with moving detail, she begins to unpack the shame that was driving the force behind her need for revenge. Shame, she writes. Friends, when we are shamed, we are brought low. We are embarrassed. We develop this kind of desire inside of us to make the person who has shamed us, the one who has brought us low, to have the same kind of feeling that we have. We want them to feel what we have felt. And it is, she believes, out of this place of shame that the entire category of an enemy emerges. We develop enemies, she begins to let us know, when we are shamed. We develop enemies when our honor has been diminished. We develop enemies when our social standing has been threatened, when our standing in our family has been threatened, when our standing in our workplace has been threatened. We develop enemies. And when we are brought low, we often have inside this desire to bring others to our lowness, to even the score a bit. Blumenfeld writes, bruise a person's dignity and revenge will repair it. Revenge erases that paralyzing moment of revealed weakness. It enhances honor and shifts dignity back into balance, end quote. Develop enemies often when we are shamed, when we have been hurt, when we have been wounded. She goes on to note that the identification of an enemy is often found when shame ignites in revenge against a person, and that when that ignites, it is the memory of that moment that keeps that revenge burning. When we remember what has been done to us, we want to settle the score. Remembering how that person made us feel, we want them to feel it. The embarrassment, the awkwardness, the public mortification. This is perhaps how the category of enemy emerges for some of us. Feeling shame, living into memory, and yearning on our own terms to restore some sense of balance. But friends, God's scales are not our own. God's sense of balance is radically different than our sense of balance. And it is from this radically different scale and view of the world that God calls, invites, beckons, urges us as the faithful to befriend and to love. To press against that human inclination to settle the score and to bring another down. To press hard against that human inclination to injure someone else's pride because ours has been injured. To make them feel our hurt. To make them feel that pain. God calls the faithful to live differently. To befriend and to love not only those who are nice and kind to us, but even and especially our enemies. In the person of Dr. Martin Luther King, while enduring the pain of white supremacy, King taught a beleaguered people to resist the urge to make enemies and instead to lean into love and to love like Jesus would. Enduring the horrors of white supremacy, he taught a bruised, physically broken people to resist the urge to make enemies and instead to befriend and to love only as Jesus loves. While enduring the brokenness of a racially segregated world, he called on a tired people to not make enemies, but instead to befriend and to love like Jesus. In Strength to Love, King writes these words: returning hate for hate multiplies hate, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Hate multiplies hate. Violence multiplies violence. And toughness multiplies toughness in a descending spiral of destruction. So when Jesus says, love your enemies, King writes, he is setting forth a profound and ultimately inescapable admonition. Love your enemies. Love your enemies. Love your enemies. Jesus is clear in the midst of facing his own enemies of his own time and space that as people of faith, we must love our enemies and do good to those who hate us. Speaking plainly from a place where all could see and hear and come to grips with the series of radical teachings, Jesus invites the faithful to lean into love. They are no longer to play by the rules that had governed their lives, rules that would have left an entire world toothless and eyeless. But Jesus offers a new way of living. He invites those who are paying attention to a new way of being in community, a new way of shaping community, a new way of loving and being with one another. Jesus is so very deeply concerned about bringing into being a very different world than the one that he has been placed into. His work is not to secure the powerful, but to bring hope to those who are without power. His work is not to protect those who are in lofty positions of authority, but to bring to the center those who have spent their life on the margin. Jesus works throughout his ministry to upset the current systems and structures in a way to level the playing fields, to create opportunities that had not existed for ways before, to open doors that had been shut. He was calling for people to love their fashion enemies into loving friends, to help people to realize that they could not be their best even without their enemies. There is this song that comes to mind for me out of my Baptist and UCC tradition. Simply says, I need you to survive. I need you, and you need me. We are all a part of God's family. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you, and I need you to survive. That I cannot be my best if I am not in loving relationship with you. Jesus called a people to fashion a new relationship that is not rooted in the past, but opens itself to a miraculous new future. The creation of people who had been socially and economically and religiously and even politically estranged from another, to find their center in and with one another. Jesus was teaching something that we are discovering anew each day, one that our presiding bishop has written about. Love is the way. When the faithful do the hard work, the hard and tedious work of showing and sharing love, especially with those who have injured and hurt others, then and only then are we able to live in a world where there is abundance and joy and life-giving blessedness. We are to create a world where we think more of others than we think of ourselves, treating others with dignity and respect, praying for others, especially our enemies, loving them, blessing them, giving to them without expecting something in return. This is what Jesus intends for us when he invites us to live in the kingdom of God, or in the kingdom of God, or in the realm of God, or to fashion a beloved community. Of this text, Professor Sarah Hendricks of Luther Theological Seminary suggests that those who follow Jesus are to live as God lives, mercifully and generous, beyond expectation, beyond comprehension. This in many ways means that we must live radically. And what makes this teaching so profound is not simply the selflessness that is to shape the community of believers, but that the selflessness that is to be extended to those who are unfriendly to us, those who, for whatever reason we have termed as enemies, is to be alive in our community. Jesus says that loving our enemies is not just in thought, but is also in deed. He's teaching us what it looks like to live in love. So friends, let us love one another. Amen.